What's good, YouTube? T here from the Sacramento Pokemon League YouTube channel, bringing you a Giratina V-STAR deck profile. Giratina V-STAR is kind of fallen off the face of the earth with Lugia dominant in the format, but we've included some cards to tech against that, and hope you guys like the deck profile and try it out. First off, star of the show, a 2/2 Giratina V-STAR line. Yes, it is small because you don't want to primarily attack with this. This is kind of like your closer, but it does have two great attacks. First, the V-STAR power, Star Requiem for a grass and a colorless. If you have 10 cards or more in your Lost Zone, it automatically knocks out a Pokemon, so it can take out big Pokemon like Flying Pikachu, Duraludon VMAX, Lugia V-STAR, Goodra, because that's prevalent now. And it just auto removes said mon, and you still take prizes. Then it also has the Lost Impact attack for a grass, psychic, and a colorless. You do 280 and then you Lost Zone 2 energies from anywhere on your board. It doesn't have to be specifically Giratina V-STAR, which is important to remember. Next, you have two Giratina Vs. It has two great attacks as well, so we are not going to leave it out. It has Abyss Seeking for a colorless energy. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Pick 2, add them to your hand, Lost Zone the other 2, so it is a mini Colress. If you happen to need to get going and you can't get this out of the active, say you started it, is a great attack to use on your first turn going second. Then it also has the Shred attack, so it does get through things like Miltank and Decidueye, if Decidueye does ever come up again. And Shred just goes through all effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So we have a 2/2 line of that. Making sure you guys can see this. There we go. Then we have 4 Comfeys. This is the Lost Box version of Giratina, so you're going to see some familiar faces, such as Comfey with the Flower Selecting ability. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add one to your hand, and Lost Zone the other. You can use this once per Comfey, so if you Scoop Up Net this, bring the other one out, you can use that ability, switch, and then use the one you just put back down again. And this is how we're getting through our deck as quickly as possible, and putting things in the Lost Zone, because you want as much in the Lost Zone as possible. Well, you want enough in the Lost Zone to utilize all of your Lost Zone cards, such as 2 Cramorant. Cramorant has the Lost Provisions ability. So if you have 4 or more cards in your Lost Zone, it attacks for free. And it has the Spit Innocently attack for 110, which is taking out a lot of smaller mons, such as Comfey itself, opposing Cramorant, and most amazing rares, Raikou and Yveltal to be specific. So this is your mini attacker for the deck. It is super important. Then for our other Lost Zone attacker, we have 1 Sableye. Sableye has the Lost Mine attack for a psychic energy. If you have 10 or more cards in your Lost Zone, you can spread 12 damage counters across your opponent's board however you like. So you can put all 12 on one mon, or you can spread them out however. So just 1, because it is not the primary focus of this deck. Giratina is, kind of. Then we have 1 Snorlax with the Unfazed Fat ability. Unfazed Fat has the ability where it is unaffected by the effect of attacks from Pokemon. So it is unaffected by opposing Lost Mines. It is unaffected by things that poison, such as Crobat V. It is unaffected by amazing rare Yveltal. So this is the primary reason why you play it. Also, because it has the Thumping Snore attack for 180. With a belt, it's 210, so it takes out Stoutland, because some of your mons are small and will get ran over by a Stoutland. So having a 1 prizer that can deal with it is pretty important. So Thumping Snore also has the effect where it puts itself to sleep and you have to flip twice for it. But if you're, a Lord, you can just roll double heads every time. Next, for other utility mons, we have one Radiant Greninja, probably the most important utility mon. It's discard an energy from your hand, draw 2 cards. So this helps you also get through your deck to see more cards to set up your board and make very important plays. It also has the Moonlight Shuriken attack. For 2 water and a colorless, you can hit 2 of your opponent's Pokemon for 90 damage, that being 1 active, 1 bench, or 2 bench to snipe off 2 Comfeys. However you would use it, this card helps you take multi-prize knockouts and just also can set you up for big plays. Then 1 Lumineon V. This card's kind of just self-explanatory. You play it down, you search your deck for a supporter, and add it to your hand. Then last but not least, we have 1 Raikou V. Raikou V is in here because Lugia V-Star is weak to electric, and it is as simple as that. It has the fleet-footed ability, so it lets you draw a card when it's in the active, and then it has the Lightning Rondo attack, so 20 plus 20 for each bench Pokemon for you and your opponent. So if there's 7 mons in total on board, it does 280 to a Lugia, and you don't need modifiers for that, and it's a pretty minimalistic setup, so not a lot going into it to take out a Lugia. And if they happen to knock this out, you can recover it with cards such as Ordinary Rod, which we'll get to later. But this is one of our techs for the Lugia matchup. Next, we have 4 Battle VIP Pass, because how else are we getting all of these mons onto the board? VIP Pass says if it is your first turn, you can play this card and take 2 mons from your deck and put them on your bench. 2 basic mons. I have to be specific. 2 basic mons from your deck and put them onto your bench. So you really want to open with this card. If not, you can discard them later with your 2 Ultra Balls. This is all the Pokemon search that we play, VIP Pass and Ultra Ball. But Ultra Ball is discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for any Pokemon. We play this over Quick Ball because you want to search any mon, so this lets you search Giratina V-Star when you need it. Then we have 4 Mirage Gate, one of the most important cards for a Lost Zone strategy. If you have 7 or more cards in your Lost Zone, you can take 2 basic energies of different types from your deck and attach them to your Pokemon however you like. This being an item means you can do this more than once. You can play all 4 in a turn if you want to, 2 in a turn. Regardless, it is busted, and when it goes off, it can really sway the game in your favor. So we have 4 Mirage Gates, and then 4 of, in my opinion, still the best card in the game, 4 Scoop Up Nets. This just lets you put one of your Pokemon that aren't V's back into your hand. So this is how you're scooping up Comfeys and reusing them, scooping up Greninja and reusing it, or just taking a Sableye off the board that you didn't want to start. However, I think this card is broken because scoop cards are pretty good. Then, for our other switching cards, we have 2 Switch and 2 Escape Rope. These cards are also self-explanatory. Escape Rope, helping move problem mons out of the way and allowing you to retreat into the mon that you want without having to waste energy. And then 2 Switch, just to switch your mons as well. So these are all cards how we're reusing our Comfeys or utilizing our Raikou and attacking with our Cramorants. Then we have 1 Ordinary Rod and 1 Energy Recycler. Ordinary Rod shuffles 2 basic energies and 2 Pokemon back into your deck, so it allows you to reuse your Snorlax if you need to use it twice, your Raikou if you need to use it more than once, your Greninja if it gets knocked out, or if you have to discard any of your Giratina pieces, you can put them back into your deck. And then Energy Recycler because we are discarding energy with Greninja. We're discarding cards with Ultra Ball. And our mons do get knocked out. So we want to make sure we have enough energy in our deck to utilize our Mirage Gate. So Energy Recycler shuffles 5 basic energies back into the deck. Then we have 1 Lost Vacuum. Lost Vacuum is in this deck because this deck is kind of weak to Big Parasol. If you need to take an important knockout but your opponent has a Parasol, you can use Vacuum. So Lost Zone 1 card from your hand, and then Lost Zones a tool or a stadium. So this helps you get rid of Parasols, so you can Star Requiem or Lost Mine, however you wish. Then for our 2 tools, we have 1 Air Balloon and 1 Choice Belt. Air Balloon because most Pokemon in this deck, aside from Snorlax, have 2 or fewer retreat, so it gives that mon free retreat. And then Choice Belt because we need it to help knock out certain things. Choice Belt on a Snorlax is 210 to knock out Stoutland. Or Choice Belt on Raikou means just 1 less mon you need to knock out a Lugia V-Star. Or if your opponent has a big charm on something, Choice Belt on your Giratina allows it to knock out something as well. And then for our 2 stadiums, we have 2 Paths of the Peak. Now, Paths of the Peak is here because we're not heavily reliant on abilities. So if we're able to stop our opponent from playing the game, even for a little bit, I think it's done its job. So Paths of the Peak turns off abilities for rule box Pokemon, so your opponent can't V-Star with their Arceus, their Lugia. They can't use their Greninja, so on and so forth. So this card, I think, was a great inclusion to the deck. I know a lot of decks have been playing Temple of Sinnoh, and I just don't think it does enough for me, because if their Lugia gets Archeopses on the board, then they can charge 4 energies anyway to the Lugia, and then the Lugia can take out the stadium. So I feel like it doesn't matter, and I think this is a better card. Then for our supporters, we have 4 Chorus Experiment, best supporter in the deck. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, pick 3, add them to your hand, and then Lost Zone the other 2. This is how you are getting cards in the Lost Zone aside from Comfey. So also it is just an incredible draw card. And then we have 2 Boss's Order. Boss's Order is just our Gust effect to bring up a problem mon and hopefully be able to take it out. And then our 1 Disruption supporter, Roxanne. Roxanne is still not real, but if combined with Paths of the Peak, sometimes it is. We hope. Roxanne says if your opponent has 3 or fewer prizes, both players shuffle their hands into their deck. You draw 6 and your opponent draws 2. So combining this with Paths of the Peak, hopefully you can sway the game in your favor just for a little bit until you can take control. And then last but not least, our energy count, which is 4 Psychic Energies, 4 Grass Energies, 3 Water Energies, and 2 Electric Energies. 2 Electric Energies because Raikou only needs 1 Electric and 1 Colorless. So you can Lost Zone one of these or prize one of these and still be fine. 3 Water because Greninja needs 2 Water and a Colorless. So you can Lost Zone one of these or prize one of these and still feel comfortable to play the game. And then 4 Grass and 4 Psychic because we want to be able to use our Giratina in the games where it is necessary. So we want to have as many of these as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed this take on the Giratina V-Star deck, and I hope you guys enjoy the game that comes after. See you at Locals.